Angel Reese was supposed to be the future face of the WNBA, the Bayou Barbie, who turned college dominance into pro-level superstardom, but now, her career is spiraling out of control. The sponsorship deals that once poured in have slowed to a trickle. Her court presence is vanishing, her day-to-day injury excuse wearing thin, and the Chicago Sky's season is collapsing without her. Meanwhile, her rivals are thriving. Sophie Cunningham, breaking records in merch sales. Caitlin Clark, selling out arenas, her every move turned into viral gold. Reese is watching from the sidelines as the spotlight she once commanded shifts to her competition. Insiders say that brands are noticing. Social media engagement, down. Public perception slipping. That all-star push she made mid-season now feels like a desperate sprint to protect her image, not to win games. And as the Sky rack up losses, Reese is protecting something else, her brand, not her team. If this is Bayou Barbie's strategy, it's backfiring and fast. Because in pro sports, your brand lives and dies with your performance. Right now, Angel Reese is on life support, and her rivals are cashing in big. Angel Reese's rise was nothing short of electric. From LSU's national championship run, to being crowned the self-styled Bayou Barbie, she had the aura, the highlight reels, and the social media firepower to match. Brands lined up to sign her sportswear deals, beauty partnerships, energy drink endorsements. She was the marketing dream, at 6'3", with a confident attitude and a championship pedigree. She looked like the WNBA's next crossover star. Her arrival to the Chicago Sky came with headlines, fanfare, and expectations. Reese was marketed as more than a player, a cultural icon in the making. In the first half of the season, she fed that narrative, stringing together double-doubles, trash talk, and viral moments. And when the first round of All-Star voting had her outside the top spots, she flipped a switch. Suddenly, Reese went on a tear, 10 straight games of high-energy play, dominating the boards, fighting for every rebound. She earned that All-Star nod, silencing critics, and proving she could back up her brand with production. But then, the momentum stopped. A mysterious back injury. No clear diagnosis. No moment fans could point to and say, that's when it happened. Week after week, the Sky listed her as day-to-day, but there was no timetable, no transparency. Her absence from key games, including against rivals like the Indiana Fever, raised eyebrows, especially when she didn't even travel with the team for what should have been a marquee showdown. This wasn't just a basketball story, it was a business story. Because while Reese sat out, her rivals were moving in on her territory. Caitlin Clark, her most public rival, was sidelined too, but the difference. Clark's injury was well documented, her return timeline clear, and her presence felt even off the court. She showed up, supported her team, stayed visible. Brands love that. Fans respect that. Meanwhile, Reese's brand momentum began to wobble. Her Instagram engagement dipped. Hashtag campaigns fizzled. Merchandise that once flew off shelves slowed down. And in the cutthroat world of sports marketing, visibility is currency. If you're not in the headlines for winning, someone else will take your place. And they did. Players like Sophie Cunningham saw surges in merch sales. Younger rookies seized their moments in primetime games. Reese, once the center of every conversation, was becoming an afterthought, and in the unforgiving business of pro sports is career death. The uncomfortable truth? Many in and around the league believe Angel Reese cares more about her brand than her basketball. And when the Chicago Sky's season started collapsing, the Bayou Barbie seemed to vanish, leaving her team and her sponsors wondering where the fight had gone. What was once the rise of a WNBA superstar is now starting to look like a case study in how quickly the game can pass you by. If you're not willing to show up and compete, the real trouble for Angel Reese began the moment her absence turned from a short-term setback into a lingering mystery. At first, fans gave her the benefit of the doubt. Injuries happen, and the grind of a WNBA season is brutal. But as the days turned into weeks, questions started piling up. Why wasn't she traveling with the team? Why weren't the Sky offering clear updates? And more importantly, why was Angel Reese staying silent? In sports, perception matters as much as performance. While Reese was missing in action, the league kept moving forward. The Chicago Sky were fighting to stay relevant in the playoff race. But without their star forward, their offense looked flat. Their rebounding suffered, and their defensive presence inside crumbled. Every loss magnified her absence, and here's where the conflict sharpened, because while her team was falling apart, her rivals were thriving. Sophie Cunningham, never shy about stirring the pot, leaned into her growing popularity. She started promoting her own merch line, and exploded t-shirts, hoodies and caps with her signature catchphrases sold out in days. She was becoming a fan favorite, not just for her on-court grit, but for her off-court hustle. Then came Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who had already been locked in a public rivalry with Reese during college days, was making waves even from the injury list. She showed up at every game in street clothes, signing autographs, interacting with fans, giving sideline interviews. Clark's jersey sales didn't just hold steady, they climbed. Brands noticed. Sponsors noticed. The message was clear: visibility wins. And this is where the first twist hits. While everyone assumed Angel Reese was quietly rehabbing, whispers began leaking from league insiders. According to multiple sources, Reese's absence wasn't just about recovery. It was about strategy. She was prioritizing protecting her personal brand and future endorsements over risking further injury in a season the sky might not salvage. That's right. The Bayou Barbie wasn't just out. She was choosing to stay out. Some insiders even claimed she was negotiating new off-court deals during her downtime. If true, that would explain the increased social media activity, focused on fashion shoots and lifestyle posts rather than any rehab updates or basketball content. The public reaction was swift and divided. Her supporters argued that she had the right to protect her long-term health and career. Critics saw it as selfish, abandoning her teammates during a make-or-break stretch. For the Chicago Sky, this created a nightmare. Sponsors who signed on expecting national TV exposure for Reese's on-court performances were now questioning their investment. The team's marketability dipped. Ticket sales softened. Local media started openly asking if the Bayou Barbie experiment was turning into a bust. And while Reese's brand managers might have believed they were playing chess, her rivals were playing a different game and winning. Sophie Cunningham capitalized on the narrative, hinting in interviews about players who talk big but don't back it up. Caitlin Clark, without naming names, praised teammates who show up no matter what. The shots were subtle, but the fans picked up every word. By the time Reese realized the story was slipping away from her, the damage was already spreading. She had gone from the WNBA's brightest new face to a lightning rod for controversy. And the season wasn't even over yet. The pressure cooker around Angel Reese didn't just simmer, it boiled over by midseason. The Chicago Sky's playoff hopes were dangling by a thread. Every game without Reese felt like another nail in the coffin. The fanbase, once electrified by her energy, was now split between those defending her and those demanding answers. Social media became a battlefield. One side claimed she was being unfairly targeted. The other said she had abandoned the grind. Then came the escalation. National sports outlets, smelling blood, began running feature segments not about the Sky's season, but about Reese's absence. Talk shows debated whether she had been overhyped from the start. ESPN analysts questioned her work ethic. And worst of all, for her brand sponsors, started pulling back on promotional campaigns. A major apparel deal quietly postponed. A planned ad drop. An energy drink company shifted its summer marketing focus to, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, her rivals smelled opportunity and pounced. Sophie Cunningham didn't just release another merch line. She hosted a fan event on the same day the Sky played without Reese, drawing a sold-out crowd. Caitlin Clark's rehab updates were turned into mini-documentary clips, portraying her as a warrior fighting her way back to the court. Every move they made kept them in the spotlight Reese once owned. And then, a shocking reveal. A leaked report from a respected WNBA insider dropped like a bomb. According to team sources, Angel Reese wasn't just sidelined by injury. She had declined to suit up in several key games where team doctors had cleared her for limited minutes. The reason? Her camp allegedly feared a dip in performance stats could hurt her endorsement value. In other words, protecting the brand came before protecting the team. The backlash was immediate. Former players blasted her on podcasts, saying real hoop play hurt. Analysts replayed the leak on every sports show, debating whether she was committed to basketball at all. Even neutral fans began asking, if the Bayou Barbie isn't in it for the game, what is she in it for? What is she in it for? The Sky's front office, already frustrated by a season slipping away, reportedly held tense closed-door meetings about her role in the franchise's future. Internally, some wondered if her marketability could ever outweigh the distraction. But perhaps the most damaging fallout came from the locker room itself. While no teammate spoke on record, eagle-eyed reporters noticed subtle body language, Fewer high fives when she appeared courtside, cooler interactions in public. The unspoken tension was loud enough for fans to hear. By the end of the week, the narrative had shifted completely. Angel Reese was no longer the WNBA's unstoppable new star. She was the cautionary tale. The player who had it all, and risked throwing it away. And the season was far from over. When the leaked reports about Angel Reese's alleged decision to sit out despite being medically cleared hit the airwaves, the reaction was instant and merciless. On social media, the firestorm was unlike anything the WNBA had seen all season. Hashtags like #Bayou Brand over Ball and #PlayTheGame trended for days. Clips of Reese's pre-leak fashion shoots and brand collabs were reposted with sarcastic captions. Hard at work and WNBA's top model, not player. Her defenders pushed back, pointing out that male athletes have made similar business decisions without the same level of outrage. But the volume of criticism drowned out most support. For everyday fans, it became a talking point in bars, group chats, and podcasts. Sports radio callers accused her of faking loyalty to her team. WNBA ticket holders vented frustration at paying premium prices to see their team's biggest star missing from the lineup. Others questioned whether her personality-driven marketing had been a calculated distraction from inconsistent on-court results all along. The media pounced. Debate shows like First Take and Undisputed dedicated full segments to the Angel Reese problem. Some hosts argued that she had every right to prioritize her long-term health and career. Others warned she was setting a dangerous precedent for young athletes by putting brand maintenance above team commitment. Then came the sponsor response. And this is where the fallout got real. One apparel giant quietly scrubbed Reese from its homepage banners, replacing her with another WNBA star. A national soft drink campaign she was supposed to headline over the summer suddenly featured Sophie Cunningham instead. Even a sneaker brand that had been in early talks for a signature shoe reportedly paused negotiations indefinitely. Within the league, the reaction was equally divided. Some players privately empathized with Reese, admitting that in the modern sports economy, endorsements can make or break a career's financial success. But others saw her decision as a betrayal of the game's culture, where playing through pain has always been seen as a badge of honor. The whispers of locker room tension turned into open speculation that some teammates had moved on emotionally from counting on her, and then there were her rivals. Sophie Cunningham doubled down on her own grind, dropping a thinly veiled jab in an interview. Some of us show up every night. Whether the cameras are there or not, Caitlin Clark stayed classy, but her constant public presence attending games, updating fans, doing charity work, was a silent rebuke that spoke louder than trash talk ever could. By the end of the month, the narrative had crystallized. In both public and industry eyes, Angel Reese was no longer just a rising star. She was a polarizing figure, the kind of player whose name could sell headlines, but whose commitment to the sport was now under permanent scrutiny. For better or worse, the Bayou Barbie had become bigger than basketball, and the industry would never look at her the same way again. Just when it seemed the dust was settling, Angel Reese dropped a bomb of her own, in an unexpected Instagram Live, streamed to over 200,000 viewers in real time. Reese broke her silence. No PR script, no carefully staged photoshoot, just her, in a hoodie, speaking directly to her fans, and she didn't hold back. "I've been painted as selfish, lazy, and only in it for the money," she said. "But what nobody's talking about is the truth, the promises that were made to me, and broken." The chat exploded. Viewers spammed the comments. "What promises? Name names." Reese smirked, clearly knowing she had the audience on a hook. She hinted that certain members of the Chicago Sky organization had failed to deliver on contract clauses, sponsorship guarantees, and even training support, claims that, if true, could ignite a legal firestorm. Then she turned the heat up even higher. "You think I don't want to play? You think I'm just sitting back? Just wait, the next time you see me on the court, it won't be where you think." That single line sent the sports world into chaos. Was she hinting at a trade? A jump to another league? Overseas play? Even a shocking crossover to another sport entirely? Twitter lit up with speculation, and by morning, betting sites were posting odds on her next move. Meanwhile, insiders reported that the Sky's front office held an emergency meeting within hours of the live ending. Rumors swirled that certain executives were blindsided by her comments, and that some sponsors, rather than pulling away, were now doubling down in hopes of riding the wave of controversy. Rivals wasted no time reacting. Sophie Cunningham tweeted, "A cryptic some of us don't need a map to know where home is." While Caitlin Clark posted nothing at all, a silence that somehow made the moment even louder. And then, silence from Reese herself. No follow-up, no press conference. Just that single cliffhanger line hanging over the league, like a storm cloud. One thing was certain. Whether she was about to redeem herself or burn every bridge left standing, Angel Reese's next move would be the most watched moment in women's basketball. The Bayou Barbie wasn't done yet, she was just getting started. So here's where we're at. Angel Reese is standing at the edge of a career-defining moment, the sponsorships slipping, the rivals thriving, the fans divided. And now, with one cryptic Instagram live, she's managed to flip the entire conversation on its head. The question is, what happens next? Does Reese stage the ultimate comeback, silencing critics and proving she's more than a brand? Or does she double down on her off-court empire, letting her basketball legacy fade into what could have been? Could we be just days away from a blockbuster trade? Or will we see her shock the world by walking away from the WNBA entirely? This isn't just sports news anymore, it's the kind of drama that rewrites careers and changes how the game is remembered. And here's the thing, moments like this, they don't come around often. If you've been watching the WNBA, if you've been following Angel Reese since her LSU days, or if you just love a good sports rivalry that feels more like a Netflix series, you need to be here for what's coming. So don't just scroll past this story. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Angel Reese about to rise from the ashes, or is this the beginning of the end? Because, when her next move drops, you're going to want to say you saw it coming. This is bigger than basketball. This is the Bayou Barbie, and her next chapter is about to be written. Asterisk, asterisk.